Newsom is now saying he's going to veto AB 15, which would basically say that California is not going to cooperate with ICE when it comes to violent criminals who are also of illegal status, illegal immigrant status. He said he would veto that. And I made the comment that this is quite the change in tune from Gavin Newsom, because he was not saying this 2 months ago in December,
like
when
a
he was talking about
sanctuary state.
Yeah, it was not brought up 2 months ago. It was not something that he was carving out and saying like, yeah, we're going to work with them on X, Y, and Z. He was very strong and adamant about, we're going to put $25 million towards enforcement and defending against the enforcement of the Trump administration. And all of a sudden, just last week, he went and had an hour and a half long meeting with President Trump. It was supposed to be half an hour, and it went an hour and a half. And all of a sudden he comes back and he's singing in a little bit of a different tune. Like, whoa, 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 hold on. We didn't say we were going to protect everybody who is an illegal immigrant. We just said we're going to protect those of illegal status, and we're going to help them. But, violent criminals, yeah, we'll let ICE like go and do what they need to do. Like, we're not going to stop them doing that. Like, we're fine with that. And I had pointed that out on X, basically being like, this is a change in tune from him. And he tried to go back and say, well, this isn't his position hasn't changed since 2008. I'm like, that wasn't my point. 2008, like talking about 2 months ago. And then it was November. And then it was, his proclamation was in November, and then he changed it in December. My point was, Gavin Newsom had not pointed this out, that he was going to work with ICE to get rid of violent criminals who have illegal status, until he went to a meeting with President Trump. That was my point.
Right.
He hadn't said it.
Obviously, conversations happened that he was like, okay.
Yeah, Trump said something.
Need to back off on some things.
Yeah.
Deals were possibly made behind closed doors.
You sit with the president for an hour and a half, and then you come back, you're singing a little different tune of like, well, we're going to work with ICE. All of a sudden you look like you're kind of waffling a little bit and flip-flopping on how much are you Trump-proofing California? Because clearly you're not Trump-proofing it as much as you claim you're going to be Trump-proofing it.
Okay, so this was AB 15.
Yeah. 15. We have a video that basically sums this all up, rather than me read another article. So okay. I haven't watched this whole video either, so we're going to be seeing this for the first time together for the first.
I didn't watch it either. I honestly didn't even click on this article.
So
sorry.
I'm going to be learning for the first time right on the fly. So here we go.
Well, I cannot stress enough, it is extremely rare for the governor to weigh in on a bill before it reaches his desk. But as it pertains to this legislation calling on the state prison system not to cooperate with ICE, the governor did weigh in, hoping to send a strong message. He will veto it. Should the California prison system cooperate with ICE and federal immigration enforcement? That is the very issue Assembly Bill 15 tried to get at when it was originally authored in December. In most cases, it would have prevented the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, or CDCR, from cooperating with ICE in several ways. Chief among them, it would have barred the state prison system from keeping someone in custody when ICE requests the CDCR to do just that. The bill would have also prevented the state prison system from providing ICE with the prisoner's release date and from transferring prisoners directly to ICE custody. But in a rare move, before the bill even had its first committee hearing, Governor Newsom's office announced he will veto AB 15 or a bill like it if it reaches his desk. The governor's office directing us to this message the governor wrote when he vetoed a similar bill last year. Newsom writing then, quote, "I believe current law strikes the right balance on limiting interaction to support community trust and cooperation between law enforcement and local communities. For this reason, I cannot sign this bill."
I think the governor is doing the right thing in this instance, and I disagree with him on a regular basis.
That's the reaction from Republican Assembly member Joe Patterson. He believes the state should cooperate with ICE.
Poll after poll shows that people are concerned about crime. Why would we possibly not work with our federal partners on immigration enforcement for criminals. We're talking about criminals, not a person who's here hardworking. We're talking about people who are in prison.
The governor's office notes since Newsom took office in 2019, the state prison system has notified and coordinated with ICE to transfer 10,588 prisoners into their custody. Prisoners the governor's office says included murderers, rapists, and violent offenders.
They should be deported, and our state should be working with the federal government to get them back out of this country so they don't continue to victimize people in this state.
As for the future of AB 15, its main author, Carson Democratic Assemblymember Mike Gibson, said in a statement that he, in his words, introduced AB 15 with the intention of addressing an important issue. But the statement went on to say Gibson is amending the bill to focus on an entirely different issue: cold cases and resources for violent crime victims. Patterson says he was happy to hear the original bill has been changed.
Of course, Democrats changed the bill because the governor said what every Californian thinks, which is this is an extremist policy.
And to be clear, even with Newsom's announcement, California is still what many describe as a sanctuary state, which in most cases prevents local law enforcement from cooperating with ICE. Reporting at the state capitol, covering local news that matters, Eitan Wallace, Fox 40 News.
Okay. So there you go.
All
Yeah, it's I like how that one Democrat from Carson was like, I thought I was drafting something that was addressing an important issue.
right.
What important issue is that? Assembly
Shout out
member?
to
It's
our friend of the show, Assemblyman Joe Patterson.
Joe Patterson. Joe, we need you to come back on and talk about this stuff. We got your number, or you got our number.
That's our name. We got your number.
Give us a call, Joe. We need to have you back on the show. But anyway, I don't know what important. He's like, I was tackling an important issue, and it's like,
What
what
important issue?
what important issue? Protecting violent criminals who have a legal status. It is interesting that it's, again, we've always said Gavin Newsom, if nothing else, is a skilled politician, and he is very good at reading the room and knowing what's popular and what's not popular. And he's also knowing these are little tracks that he has to leave if he wants to run for president in 2028. That he will say, he can say, look, I didn't support protecting the violent criminals who had a legal status. I let the federal government handle that.
I think that's why he has so many word salads.
Mhm.
Is that he can say a lot without saying anything at all, and then when you want to accuse him of saying something, he'll be like, "Well, that's not what I said."
Right. It's, well, that's not what I meant. You read into it differently.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why politicians are always kind of vague. So yeah, it's a classic move by Newsom. I wanted to bring this up because I picked this up and I was like, he did change his tune. It does seem like he changed his tune from how tough he was talking 2 months ago.
Yeah.
To Brad Richardson, I'm sorry that's your job, is you have to go on social media and react to people hating on Gavin Newsom. Sounds like a rough job to constantly be doing that. But yeah, just another Gavin Newsom move that he won't be protecting violent criminals who also have a legal status. He'll let ICE do what they need to do to get him out of the country. So